Are Newcastle United a big club? That's what I'm going to be asking Owen today. Hi everyone, welcome to Newcastle Fans TV. This video is sponsored by the One Football app. Get all your latest news, your transfers, your stats. What else is there? The possession. It's actually up to date and it's actually quicker than the leading football apps that you might already use. So do check it out. Link is in the description for that. So like I say, Owen is waiting for us just behind us. And we're going to be discussing. I'm going to be playing the bad cop, good cop, bad cop. I'm going to be asking Owen, why are Newcastle a big club? Are we a big club? Let's get on with today's video. Right then, so here we go. So like I say, I'm going to be playing the bad cop. Not that I don't think Newcastle are a small club, but Owen's a lot younger than me, so I'm going to be firing the questions at him as, are we a big club, Owen? Are we?
Of course we are.
Okay, well, we'll soon find out, won't we? Right. So, yeah. First of all, Owen, just tell everyone in general how old you are, first of
all. 16. I've been a Newcastle fan for most of my life. Comes from my dad's side of the family. Obviously, I live down south. You can probably tell by my accent, but yeah. I've been watching Newcastle for a long time. I've obviously seen them in Europe with Pardew. I can remember Shearer when I was younger. That was when I was little. But yeah, I've seen quite a bit.
The reason why I'm getting you to answer that question is because obviously I'm double your age. So you've been on a few times this season already, so you're coming a bit of a habit this. So I wanted to get a perspective to asking someone a lot younger, are Newcastle a big club? Because people probably your age, majority of Newcastle fans will probably only know Mike Ashley. So, you know, I've seen Sir John Hall, Freddie Shepherd, and pretty good times being a Newcastle fan. Right, the size of the club, Owen. Would you consider Newcastle one of the smallest in the Premier League?
No, I'd probably say we're one of the biggest in the Premier League.
Tell me why. Tell everybody.
Well, I'd say that some of the, I say Leeds, who are in the Championship, I'd say they're a massive club. It's not so much where we are in the league, or how much we're spending, or what players we have, or like who we're attracting in pre-season. It's more like what we are as a club. Like historically, we may have not won so much in the last decade or 2 decades or whatever, but we have a history. It's quite a massive history, and we're there predominantly in English football. We have been there for a large majority of our time.
I'll say I disagree, and it's not because I'm playing bad cop. I think Newcastle are now one of the smallest clubs in the Premier League, and that's down to possibly the owner, which we'll come on in a moment. If you look at spending power, you've got 99% of the Premier League is spending more money than us. Cardiff, obviously we know that unfortunate events with Emiliano Sala recently, but they went and splashed the cash. I know we have a Valmiron, but you take that aside, historically, the last, decade we haven't. And you've got Huddersfield going crazy with money. You've got Bournemouth. Bournemouth are just going wild with the money, and they're tiny if you consider their attendance 2 hours. Now,
don't get me started.
Where you live down that neck of the woods, don't you?
Yeah.
But we haven't won a trophy for 50 years, so surely winning trophies determines you as a big club.
Well, yes, it does. It does add to that factor. Yes, I'm sure. It does add to the factor, but it's not everything. Trophies isn't everything. I'm sure Spurs fans will tell you that because they don't win a lot, but they tried to claim they're a big club still.
Just by Wembley, they don't. Not by the attendance at Wembley, it wasn't.
Well, yeah. But yeah, it's just. I just think there's a lot more to being a big club than trophies and everything else that goes with it.
Okay. Well, I think it's a valid point for people who might not be Newcastle fans to say, well, wait a minute, you haven't won a trophy for 50 years, you can't be a big club. But does a big fan base make you a big club? Does it help?
Yeah, I'd say it helps. I'd say it's a massive factor towards it. Really, because the more fans you have, the more likely your team is to play better. Well, maybe not for us in recent years, but under Mike Ashley. But I just say that the more support there is,
we sell out. Sell out every home game, almost every away game. Everybody talks about when you speak to someone else about Newcastle, they don't talk about the football team. They talk about the fans first. The fans are amazing. The fans are this. They sell out home and away. Does that help benefactor you be a bigger club? Because look, Newcastle are officially the 10th biggest supported club in Europe.
Well, yes, I'd say that does add to a big factor because the fact that we're attracting so many, it's not so much from over the globe we're attracting fans like a Manchester United or a Manchester City where they're doing so well that everyone knows about them. It's because we're selling out 52,000 every week because the city, like it's that goldfish bowl thing that
Do you believe that? Because everyone says about that. Do you believe that?
I honestly believe it because like there's nothing else of any relevance or nothing else of relevance anywhere near Newcastle. And before anybody says Sunderland, they're not exactly
Oh,
relevant at the
carefully,
moment.
carefully. You might get people who love the art galleries, and all of this, and bridges, and then you've got a nice. Tino Aspria famously said he thought he was coming to some beaches. He got that totally wrong, didn't he?
Yeah,
But I know what you mean. It's like it's football mad, and it's
yeah,
like a Bournemouth or you're nearby. They're not nuts on football. That City,
no.
whereas Newcastle are heavily dominated.
It's Newcastle. We are Newcastle fans. We support the team. Where when I've been to the Vitality Stadium a couple of times, they're more spectators, and that's no criticism to Bournemouth because they've done ever so well to be where they are. But there's a difference between our fan base and other clubs' fan base. We're different. We're completely football mad. We care about our team. Some would say we're too emotionally connected to our team, but I don't believe that. I think
Do you not
it's
think so? Because I think Liverpool are also similar to us. Their
well,
fans, they're emotionally
yeah.
connected, very, very runs deep.
I'd say Liverpool are pretty much what Newcastle are, but obviously they just added trophies to their game as well, and they've actually had a lot more dominance in English football than we have. But yeah, I just
Let me
think
ask you this question as well then. Are Leeds, Aston Villa, and Everton bigger than Newcastle?
um, Everton definitely not. I wouldn't say because
Oh,
uh,
Everton fans are gonna love you.
well, Scouse Mackems, aren't they? So anyway, I'll not
There's a
get on that
dislike on the
subject.
video right there.
Um, anyway, yeah, I wouldn't say Everton because they're sort of living in the Merseyside shadow of Liverpool. I wouldn't say they're a big club. Leeds, I'd probably say they're up there with us because of how well they did do before obviously the downfall of Leeds. And I do
Shall I
like
let,
Leeds as a club.
shall I let you know a little secret? If Leeds come into Premier League, Newcastle will be live less. That's just a bit of
Really?
inside knowledge for you.
Wow. Well, let's hope they don't get promoted then.
Hope they do.
Anyway,
It's easier drive. Aston Villa, there's that bit of heated debate. They are, they've won a couple of European trophies, the
yeah.
league, but they struggle to fill their stadium.
Yeah, I'd say Villa are down there with Everton as well. I wouldn't say they're as big as us, but Leeds, certainly out of those three that you mentioned, I'd say that they are the closest to us in being as big of a club as Newcastle.
See, I'm going to disagree. I think Everton, unfortunately, are bigger than us. I
Yeah,
think Leeds are probably on the similar kind of par, despite them being in the Championship. Historically, I could go even further back. Older fans, older than me, might say that Forest are bigger than us at one stage because they won the two not Europa League, sorry, the Champions League equivalent.
yeah,
But also, does that factor where you are right now if you're a big club? Because if you look at those clubs, they're in the Championship. They're not
yeah,
competing higher up. I know we're in the Premier League and we're in the lower end, but I don't know, say Everton, for example, are normally top
mm,
10, somewhere around about there,
mm,
consistent. Whereas, you look at historically, you look at Wigan who have won an FA Cup, Birmingham have won a League Cup recently, Swansea, these are teams now. Yes, they've won a trophy recently, but are they
yes.
really bigger than Newcastle?
Well, like I said before, I think a lot of history adds into it, the present adds into it, fans, money, it all comes into whether you're a big club or not. And I'm not trying to say Newcastle are the biggest club in England or the smallest, but we're certainly, I'd say we're one of the biggest clubs in England, just with everything involved. I think history isn't everything, the present isn't everything. It's an addition
There's a
of
lot of key
everything
factors.
together.
A lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
key
yeah,
factors.
definitely,
Next
definitely.
question then for you. As I say, I think we're one of the smaller clubs in the Premier League now, and
Mm,
that's because of the owner, Mike Ashley.
no, definitely.
Now, before Mike Ashley, I will go on record and say that we were bigger than Spurs and Manchester City. I would say that
I
because we
agree.
were competing in Europa League every single,
Mhm.
I wouldn't say every year, but almost every 2 year
Yep.
that we were competing in Europe.
Yep.
How far have we come down because of Mike Ashley?
Massively. Two relegations in 10 years, massively. Not breaking our transfer record since Ashley's taken over, massively. Just constant neglection of the club, massively. There
And
you
we're
go.
a big club.
I'd say, despite that, like I said before, is not just
It
money.
feels good playing a
Well,
bad cop tonight.
well, actually, I'd say, I don't know whether it's going to sound right, but it sounds right in my head. Mike Ashley has shrunk the size of Newcastle as a club.
It's still big.
It's still big,
it could be
but
huge.
we were bigger before. We
Yeah,
would
it
be
could have
huge. If we had the owners that Manchester City have,
Oh
we'd be
yeah, we
massive.
would be a Manchester City now.
We would be massive.
That's the one thing I will agree on you with. I won't disagree on you on that one. Is before Ashley come, yeah, we were playing Europa League, the odd time the Champions League under Bobby as well. So yeah, Newcastle were known pretty much. We had big stars as well, but nowadays it's not so much. If I asked, let's just pick a lesser country. I don't know. Let's go to Indonesia. Would they know who Newcastle are?
It depends who you ask, really, because
Okay,
as
let's
far as
pick
I'm
another country.
concerned,
Let's go to
right,
Papua New Guinea. Would they know who Newcastle are?
possibly. They probably know the Liverpool's, Manchester United, Manchester City's. Probably not Manchester City actually, because
Would you not say that now?
um, no,
Because of the TV?
possibly. Actually, no, possibly. But I'd say a few would know who Newcastle are. Perhaps the older ones, but we're definitely not attracting the younger generation in different countries.
I don't.
First of all, I don't think that even if we were even in the position where we are, we can still be a good football team, just be lower down in the league. Like, for instance, playing attractive football. I'm not saying Rafa is a bad manager, but it's defensive football. It's not free-flowing attacking football, and that's something that would interest a football fan slightly more, even if they were further down the league. But yeah,
So these clubs that are getting shown globally across, because we've got an audience we've got a lot of Canadians, Americans, Irish, Australians, and New Zealanders who watch us. Now, why would you pick Newcastle and go and support them? You must be off your head. You've got to be. But
definitely.
you mentioned those top six. They're constantly on international rights for a reason, because they spend money and they go and win trophies.
Yeah.
So again, that doesn't help us as well.
Yeah.
Commercial revenue. Do you believe what the club published in the accounts? I don't.
I wouldn't say I do either.
Do you
And
trust? Because remember what she and Nora said in Parliament about Mike Ashley, that accounts, they can make up what they want. That's what they're there for.
Well, yeah, he probably minimises the amount of commercial revenue we get, just so it looks like he's not getting as much money. So when he spends peanuts, it looks slightly better. But it doesn't make it look better at all, because if he's had enough money to buy Newcastle in the first place, then he should have enough money to run Newcastle.
Yeah.
Yes, apparently he's got loads of debt, which, rightly or wrongly, but he should be spending money as a.
The question is, where's the money at?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's all this TV money at? Where is all this commercial revenue? Where's all the ticket sales? Fans get criticised for going to games. Fans get criticised for buying subscriptions. Fans get criticised for buying merch. You just cannot win, can you?
No. It's just it's a pain, really, because Newcastle, we could be in a real state right now if we didn't have the fans we have. I think if the season we went down, the most recent time we went down, obviously 15-16, if our fans had neglected the club like we've seen with other teams that have gone down in recent years, I think Newcastle could be in a Sunderland situation right now, or close to that. But I think because the fact we're football mad and we care about our club and we're so passionate, I think it lifts Newcastle just that little bit more and just saves us that little bit. Yes, we get criticised for going to games, but do they really understand what it's like to be a Newcastle fan? I don't think so.
Then again, if I try and take my Newcastle head off and put it on a neutral, we are so lucky not be a Leyton Orient, a Portsmouth, who else, like Blackburn. There's loads of worse off clubs than Newcastle, and we always criticise Mike Ashley. And now I'm not sticking up for Mike Ashley. What I'm trying to do is play bad cop again. But you look at these smaller clubs, and they're in a hell of a lot worse situation than us. Would you go along and agree with that?
Yeah, I would say they're in a hell of a lot situation than us, but a lot worse
Coventry.
situation than us. Well, yeah, but with
Wimbledon.
Yeah, well, exactly. But with the Mike Ashley situation, it could be that bad. It could be that bad. But the more time you give it, the worse it's going to get. I think with Mike Ashley, it's not going to get better. It's come out in one of your recent videos. We haven't broken our transfer record as of yet, and we still couldn't break our transfer record if we get relegated at the end of the season. Um, he probably won't spend. He probably won't break our transfer record ever properly. Um,
Yeah, because what you
so
mean by that, people are not understanding that question is
yeah,
what's happened is the Almiron deal is not. It doesn't look like it's officially broken the transfer record. So there's been a set fee, but then bonuses and appearances would go over that. I think that's what you're trying to explain.
yeah, that is you've hit the nail on the head there. I just I just don't think he's going to take this club forward and only backwards. No matter whether it's a long period of time or a short period of time, all he's going to do is take this club backwards and backwards and backwards.
Okay.
Yeah, I did an interview on BBC Newcastle after the Watford game the other week in the FA Cup, and it just makes you so angry, especially in a defeat like that. And it all just comes back down to one man in the end, Mike Ashley, isn't it? And it just shows the demise of our club. We should be going on a cup run. If we had a good owner, we'd have squad depth. We had to put a decent team in that game. Not saying that it wasn't bad, because that is our second rotation against, what was it? It wasn't exactly Watford's reserves, but definitely wasn't their first team. And we struggled.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Let's do a recap before I ask you one more question. So we have allegedly got money to spend, but the owners are hiding it and won't invest. We agree on that. We've got a
yep.
massive loyal fan base filling up home and away. We'll both agree on that. We're known globally in the majority of countries, would you say?
Yeah.
Majority. No trophy, however, in 50 years. We've got a world-class manager. I would say we've got no stars, though. I wouldn't say he can go into Man United's 11. He can go. You couldn't pick 3 or 4 players, could you? So let's just say we had investment. We've got a new owner in. I know this is in hindsight, and it's easy to say this. And we started to compete. Can we win a trophy if money kept being thrown at it year after year after year?
Definitely, 100%. Money is the way that football works now. I don't think you can spend money and make it work instantly. West Ham is a prime example this season. With them, West Ham owners through.
How much would it take for us to get in the Champions League? How much money you think?
It depends how quickly the squad clicks, because like West Ham this season, they threw money at, like Fulham as well. They threw money at it, but what they've done is they obviously a squad doesn't click just like that. They need games together, and sometimes when you're in Fulham's position, you don't have the time to make your squad click. So it would have to be, I'd say, big amounts, but over a longer period of time.
How many seasons? 3, 4, 500 million?
Probably about 5 seasons, I reckon, before you're getting to a latter stage in a competition. I'd say, like a latter stage of the Europa League or something like that, or the early stage of the Champions League. I'd say, yeah, yes.
And are Newcastle? I know this is an added question, but are Newcastle a big club because the Premier League's boomed?
I'd say that is a fair. If the Premier League wasn't a well-known league and it was perhaps the same stature as the Championship or
Serie A.
I don't know, something like that, where people do watch but not
Well,
as
I'll
much
be honest
as
with you.
people.
Clubs who come up from the Serie A, I have to look at them twice and think, who?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit unsure who's coming up from Serie B. It's like,
Well, yeah.
there's a lot of them that are in there. So,
Yeah.
if you had to rate Newcastle at this current status right now out of 10, how big they are in terms of a big club. So everything we've talked about today, the lack of trophies, the lack of ownership, the fans filling home and away, majority known across the world, where would you put Newcastle out of 10?
So 0 being small and 10 being big.
So 0 being no one's heard of them.
Yeah.
It's a massive club. 10 being boom, they are mega.
Yeah. Probably say about a 7.5.
Oh, we nearly agreed. I would have put it as a 6. I would have put it as a 6.
Yeah.
So 6 and a 7. You can see where Newcastle there could be a lot more if money was thrown at it.
Well, I don't think it would even take much To be quite honest with you, I don't think it would take much for us to be at the level we want to be. We're not delusional as fans. How many people? The amount of times I see that on Twitter each day, it's unbelievable. People calling our fan base delusional. We're not. We just want the best for our club, like any football fan does.
I think
they want the best for their club.
I think for the short term, ideally, you probably want to consolidate yourself as a top 10 side, and then start chucking money out. But we don't live in a perfect world, unfortunately. I think that's been a good debate. I think I'll get a few people sparking up in the comments. And remember, people, I'm playing bad cops. Not that I believe all of that. Let us know what you think. Of course, Owen, thank you very much for coming on.
It's all right. Pleasure.